Major League Baseball has been put on notice. Logan Webb, the ace, the frontline starter for the San Francisco Giants, just did something he has not done in his entire career, and that raises the question, should he be a dark horse to win the National League Cy Young? Could he beat out names like Paul Skeens, Freddie Peralta? We are going to dive all into that in our first video on SF Giants Digest. But before we get into it, I want to welcome you to the channel. Like I said, this is SF Giants Digest, and I'm excited to be here, be your host. My name is Michael Monreal, and I am a lifelong Giants fan. I'm a writer, a podcaster on the San Francisco Giants, and I am extremely grateful to have this opportunity to talk more about the team that I love so much. Like I mentioned in this video, we are going to talk about Logan Webb and his dark horse candidacy for the National League Cy Young. Getting right into it. Last night, Logan Webb did something, like I said, he's never done in his entire career. He reached the 200 strikeout mark in 2025. It is his first time doing it in his career in a single season, and at the beginning of the year, Alex Pavlovich reported, he was very outspoken about it, that reaching 200 strikeouts was one of Logan Webb's goals for this year. There's a tweak to his arsenal this year. Started using a cutter a little bit, started using the four-seam fastball more, the changeup less, which is a surprising aspect of this year, as the changeup was known as his best pitch in previous seasons. But yeah, a really encouraging sign for Logan Webb. In this league, pitchers do have to develop, even if they're one of the top pitchers in the league. And Logan Webb has shown the ability to get strikeouts when he needs to this season. And it's something that not a lot of people expected, but is really, really awesome to see. Now, it's not just this season we've seen Logan Webb be, the supreme pitcher for the Giants and one of the best pitchers in baseball. As you see here, from Just Baseball Media on Twitter, the only pitcher since 2022 with 780 or more innings pitched and 700 or more strikeouts since 2022 is Logan Webb, one of the most underrated aces in the league. Now, going back to last year and previous years, Logan Webb is for sure one of the more underrated pitchers in all of baseball. It seems this year he's starting to get a little more recognition, which is awesome. That's what we want to see from our ace, from the face of our franchise. Before we had Willy Adames, before we had Matt Chapman, before we had Rafael Devers, all of these guys, it was Logan Webb. He was the face of the San Francisco Giants. Once Buster Posey retired, he was the guy that everybody thought of once you think of the San Francisco Giants. Now, like I mentioned, it's nothing new for Logan Webb. He's been doing this for years. 2021 was kind of the year that he finally figured things out. He had a mid-5s ERA in 2020, 2019, but 2021 was that first year we finally saw him figure things out. As you see, he had a 3.03 ERA that season, and since then it's been more consistency from Webb. He's never had an ERA over 3.5 since 2021, and if you see towards the middle there, the innings he's racked up is pretty impressive. 192, 216, 204, and then this year he has 184 up into this point. Now, it's really encouraging to see from Webb. He's been able to rack up innings with the best in baseball. He is the best innings eater in Major League Baseball. He's for sure going to reach that 200 inning mark this year again. Probably just needs 2 or 3 more starts to be there. He won't quite get to the 216 mark he reached in 2023, but still, having 200 or more strikeouts with 200 or more innings pitched is something that's going to get him heavy consideration for the Cy Young. Now, here we see more of the potential Cy Young candidates, and these are the most valuable starting pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. You see at the top there, Tarek Skubal, no surprises. On the very right, you see 6.5 F4, which is wins above replacement, and he's the best pitcher in baseball. It's really not a conversation. He's been absolutely unhittable for 2 or more years, and he's just the premier ace in Major League Baseball. Right under him, you see Paul Skeens, who is a generational talent. We may never see anything like him again, and he's been absolutely nails this year. He is most likely going to win the National League Cy Young, but we're going to talk about Logan Webb's case and why he may just be right at the top of that conversation when not a lot of people think he should be. Now, you go all the way down to number 5, and that's where you're going to see Logan Webb on this list. He sits at 4.8 wins above replacement currently, according to FanGraphs, and he's definitely a top 5 pitcher in all of baseball, as you see, according to value, according to FanGraphs. He's the best pitcher in the National League West. You see Yoshinobu Yamamoto is right up there in the number 8 spot. He's probably the second best pitcher in the National League West. You got Blake Snell, you got Tyler Glasnow, you got a couple of other guys. but Logan Webb is the premier starting pitcher, the premier innings eater, and the premier guy in terms of not allowing a lot of runs throughout the course of 162 games a year. Now moving on to where he sits currently this year in 2025. This is a tweet from Jeff Young. He's a really popular guy on Giants Twitter and the community. He hosts a podcast. He does a lot for AroundTheFoghorn.com. But he said, Logan Webb's 2025 stats and NL ranks among qualified NL starters. He has 184.2 innings pitched, which is first. You see a 2.64 FIP, which is third. 4.8 FWAR, which we mentioned, is third in National League. Only 0.63 home runs per nine, which is fourth. Logan Webb has always been really, really good at limiting the long ball, which is always awesome to see. I'm sure Oracle Park helps a little bit in that regard, but still really, really awesome sign there. 53.3% ground ball rate, which is fifth. Usually he's at the top of that list, but because of him racking up more and more strikeouts this season, the ground ball rate has taken a bit of a dip, but he's still one of the premier ground ball pitchers in all of baseball. And then you go all the way to the bottom of this list, you see 201 strikeouts, which is first in the National League. That is one thing that we need to keep an eye on. That's something that the Baseball Writers of America should keep their eyes on. In terms of this, this Cy Young race, everyone thinks Paul Skeens is going to lead the National League in strikeouts, but he better watch out because it might just be Logan Webb. Now, here's another graphic. This is from Baseball Reference or StatHead Baseball, and this kind of compares the National League frontrunners for Cy Young and their stats. You see Logan Webb and Paul Skeens are the two guys with the most green boxes. That means they lead out of these guys selected, they lead in that statistic. So you see Logan Webb leads in games started and innings pitched, which is no surprise. Like we've mentioned all video, he racks up innings every year, year in, year out. And then you also see strikeouts, which as we mentioned is really surprising. He's never been a strikeout guy, but this season, Logan Webb is finally getting his fair share of strikeouts, 201 on the year. And then at the bottom, the walk percentage, that is also one of Logan Webb's strongest suits. He doesn't give a lot of free passes. He's never been one. He always beats himself up when he allows free passes because, as many know, when you allow free passes in Major League Baseball, that's when you're going to get hurt. Now, Paul Skeens, on the other hand, is another guy. He also has 5 green boxes. He does lead in WAR. This is B-WAR, which is different than Fangraphs wins above replacement. This is Baseball References wins above replacement. He has 7. I'm not quite sure the difference in terms of F4 and B4 and how they calculate it, but usually Fangraphs wins above replacement is a little bit higher and more lenient to the player than Baseball References. But you also see Paul Skeens leads in earned run average at a 198, which is absolutely insane. He's been really, really insane since coming up. And then you also see ERA plus, he leads with the 218, and then the K percentage, no surprise, that is going to be Paul Skeens. And then the walks, he does lead. He only has given up 39, but because Logan Webb has thrown more innings, he leads in strikeouts and the walk percentage. He's been able to pitch more innings, which means he's been able to rack up more strikeouts and less walks across those innings. You see Freddie Peralta's in there. He's been really impressive this year, but he doesn't have nearly the innings that Paul Skeens has, that Logan Webb has, or Christopher Sanchez. Christopher Sanchez is another guy that we should bring up. He's going to be right at the top of this list when the year ends. He's been really reliable for the Philadelphia Phillies. And then Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who I mentioned earlier, is probably the second best pitcher in the National League West. He is definitely going to get some votes during this Cy Young race. He's been nails all year, and really since he's come over from the NPB, he's been really, really solid for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, based off these guys, you see their stats, you see where they rank. I would argue that Logan Webb should be second in terms of this race currently. Paul Skeens leads the way. He's been able to throw a decent amount of innings with 173, right around 10 less than Logan Webb. But that ERA is just otherworldly. A sub-2 ERA in around 175 innings is absolutely absurd. If he's going to get to 190-ish innings at a sub-2 ERA, this award is most likely his. But Logan Webb should not be taken lightly. He's a real candidate in this race. You see, these are what the National League Cy Young odds currently look like according to BetMGM. They are slightly outdated. Their last update was September 4th, so about 5 days ago, a little less than a week ago. But currently, Logan Webb sits at 4th. You see Paul Skeens, Christopher Sanchez, Freddie Peralta are the guys ahead of him. Matthew Boyd, a little bit surprising. He sits at 5th. And then, like I mentioned, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And then one of our guys, Robbie Ray, sits right there, right behind him. He's been nails this year. We've seen a little bit of regression from him, but he's been, more than what anyone would have thought he would have been coming off of injury. But fun to see one of our other guys, our number 2 ace right there. But yeah, you see Logan Webb fourth. I would assume after the outing he had last night against the Diamondbacks, where he only gave up 1 earned run, he had 8 strikeouts, I believe. I would assume he moves up. With the innings he's racked up, he's definitely going to pass that 200 innings mark. Once again, that'll be 3 seasons in a row. I believe that is the first time a pitcher has gone 3 seasons of 200 plus innings in a row since our other guy, Justin Verlander. So that's a fun wrinkle in this whole conversation. But this begs the question, should our guy Logan Webb be the National League Cy Young winner? Could he be a dark horse to win this award? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this conversation. I'm sure everybody thinks that Paul Skeens is the clear-cut winner, and he will most likely end up winning the award. But where does Logan Webb finish in the race? Is he second? Is he third? Is he fifth or sixth? Let me know in the comments what you think, where you think Logan Webb finally finished in the National League Cy Young race. And thank you for watching SF Giants Digest.